actually I want to talk about something which is related to work that I do every day, and that is the charity sector. And I want to speak to you about it. And even this video can be a guidance videos for those who want to open up a charity, how to do that, and most importantly, to understand the challenges behind this type of work. So sometimes it seems quite easy that you would go and see risk, and you would go and donate to risk or ED or Ahuvat or any of these organizations, but perhaps you would not know the journey they would have to undertake every day in order to maintain the compliance of the charity. And then of course, how to register one, that's the biggest question. And it's not just that you go to one shop and one office and you're able to register a charity. You have to go to multiple offices, and you have to do these compliances multiple times, and it gets quite crazy. It's not easy, it's quite tough at times. I think there's a not at times certainly there is a need for legislation as well at federal and provincial levels to streamline the work, because at the moment it's haywire how charities are registered over there and how compliance is managed. So let's begin with how you can register a charity in Pakistan. So basically there are around 5 to 6 major laws through which you can register a charity in Pakistan. One, if you are an international charity, then you register yourself as an INGO with the Ministry of Interior. Then you can also register yourself as a trust. You can also register yourself as a society. You can also register yourself as a voluntary services welfare agency, and that is registered with the Ministry of Social Welfare. Apart from that, there's a Musliman Waqf ordinance, so you can create a Waqf trust. And am I missing any? So basically these are the major 4-5 types of registrations through which you can register a charity. Now, once you have registered with these authorities, the next step is to go and register with a provincial charity commission, which has been established, I guess, around 3 to 4 years ago. And like, for instance, if you are registered in Islamabad, for instance, you're registered over here with SECP as a Section 42 company. Yes, actually, I forgot to mention the not-for-profit private limited company. You can also register as a not-for-profit private limited company under the Companies Ordinance 42, which is, so you are not-for-profit private limited company. So there is no equity. So basically, all the powers are given, authorized to the board, and the board can exercise those powers. So let me take the example that if you're registered as a not-for-profit limited organization here in Islamabad, and you want to work in Punjab. So if you want to work in Punjab, you now have to re-register your registered charity that you have registered with SECP. You have to register it with the Punjab Charity Commission. Once you have done that, you have to, like, if you want to work in a certain district, then you have to go and apply for an NOC from the local government over there. And they will make you go through that process, and then you are able to work in that district and provide whatever charity and welfare services that you want to provide over there. Subsequently, you also have to open a bank account. So bank account के लिए आपको बैंक ने भी काफ़ी आपको due diligence करवानी है. So they are going to ask you for 100 documents as well. I'm exaggerating 100, but believe me, I think so. It's not too much of an exaggeration when I say that, the banks are going to require 100 documents from you as well. So that's another challenge that you have to see. Now, if you want to receive foreign contributions, you have to go to the Economic Affairs Division, and you have to do a MOU with the Economic Affairs Division, who will make you go through their compliance and their due diligence process, and then you will be able to get that MOU done. Now, in order to get that MOU so that you can receive foreign contributions from overseas Pakistanis or international charities or donor agencies, you need to, share audited financial statements with them. And they ask you for 3 years financial audited statements. So, which means that if a new charity is created, they cannot receive foreign contributions for the first 3 years. So, that's another hindrance. So, I've told you the process that you register your charity, then you register your charity with the Provincial Charity Commission. Then you also have to open a bank account, and then for if you want to receive foreign donations, you have to register yourself with the Economics Affairs Division here in Islamabad. So you've got four things going on. Now, is a not-for-profit organization, can they have tax exemption? No. For that, you have to now go to a semi-government, it's not even a government organization, it's an autonomous organization. And I've got great friends over there, so it's not to criticize them, but you have to go to this organization that has done a MOU with FBR, which is called the Pakistan Center for Philanthropy. It's a private not-for-profit organization. They will assess if your governance is, your governance, how you're managing your operations, your projects and finance, if it's, acceptable to the standards they have built. To which my criticism always is there, that they haven't, maybe they take the best examples and they want everyone to become that, to become a best example, They want to move all the charity towards that. I think they need to a little bit tone it down, because everyone is not at the size of Eidi or a Khuwat or Shaukat Khanum for that purpose. A lot of organizations are small and large charities. Like, for example, I'll tell you, they will deduct your points if, they are family members in board of directors. Now, if it's a family trust, if it's a family-based organization, those type of organizations that they're doing charity, they are not going to involve a lot of people out of their family, because it's a charity that is being run and operated by a certain family. For instance, I'm not going to take any names. Actually, I shouldn't take any names, but if you open the books, you would find that a family charity trust would be dominated by that. But then that is the point that PCB doesn't understand. But this video is not about Pakistan Center for Philanthropy. This video is about the tax exemption process. Now, PCP will take good 3 to 4 months, that full process of, getting the certificate, or maybe they would tell you that, these are the gaps in your governance that you need to improve. And then we will issue you the registration, the certificate for that. So once you get the certificate from Pakistan Center for Philanthropy, you have to go to the FBR to get a tax exemption certificate. And FBR is going to take some time as well. So if you see the registration process altogether, it's not time and cost effective. And it becomes really difficult for organizations to operate in Pakistan. And especially in these times when, there's poverty, there is a lot of problem related to, the income differences between people who are in the lower income groups, and, I think so it's not the middle class right now that is, increasing in size. I think so it's the lower middle class or the low income households that are increasing in Pakistan due to, the inflationary pressures and everything. So it's very important to support charities in that way. The second thing is that charities bring a lot of foreign remittances, a lot of that foreign exchange ka jo masla hai Pakistan ke andar, that charities can contribute in resolving that problem. Because a lot of people want to send money to Pakistan for charitable activities. We are a very generous country and a nation, and that is well known not just in the country but worldwide as well. But rather than creating facilitating charities to receive funds and carry out their work, there are more obstacles that are created every day. And I told you I mapped down this process for you, but let me just break it down further to you. Let's take the example of SCCP. So I'm going back to that process that I showed you, how you are going to register your charity. Abhi to hum operations ki taraf aaye hi nahi, we have to speak about that. I told you that ये टाइम और कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव नहीं है, बट मैं आपको एक और चीज़ बताता हूँ कि किस किस्म की डॉक्यूमेंटेशन आपसे मांगते हैं. SCCP आपके साथ आप रजिस्टर करेंगे तो SCCP आपसे पूछेगा कि SCCP कहेगा कि आई एम गोइंग टू चेक the fitness of every board director. What does the fitness mean? So fitness over here means that they want to assess that अगर कोई organization है वो health की services देना चाहती है तो उसके board of directors में डॉक्टर होना चाहिए. ठीक है, ये उनकी डेफिनेशन है. एजुकेशन का कोई काम होना चाहिए तो एजुकेशनिस्ट होना चाहिए. तो अगर कोई बंदा सेठ है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, एंड दे वांट टू ओपन अ चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट, एंड दिस पर्सन might be selling cables or maybe running a news channel or anything of that sort, ठीक है, and he wants to do charitable work, and he does not have this team. So SCCP is not going to allow you to open क्या कहते हैं, to register with them, to register the not-for-profit organization with them. They will keep on sending you. Of course, you're going to fight it through your lawyers and everything, and eventually you will get the work done, but it will become a long process. The average time it takes to register a charity with the SECP is around 4 months. If you are registering a trust or something, it used to take less time now, but कुछ checks and balances डाले हुए हैं जिसकी वजह से अब थोड़ा सा आप कह सकते हैं कि 1-1.5 महीना लग जाता है. It takes around 1.5 months. Leave this point where they are going to assess. But if somebody wants to open a charity organization and they want to work and they want to help the underprivileged, why do they need to take permission from the government? मतलब हाँ individually कर लें, वो registration ना करें charity के, बेशक 1000 food packets कर ले, बेशक they are running a health center with some with a private facility, private healthcare facility, but you can't open a charity account if you don't have the experts in your board. Experts can be hired. The board का सबसे बड़ा काम जो है वो गवर्नेंस है, फाइनेंशियल ट्रांसपेरेंसी है, अकाउंटेबिलिटी है, और जो चीज़ें जो हैं, जो पब्लिक जो पैसा है उसकी हिफाजत करना है. डॉक्टर्स हायर हो सकते हैं, एजुकेशनिस्ट हायर हो सकते हैं टू डेवलप स्कूल्स, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट के एक्सपर्ट्स हायर हो सकते हैं, मैनेजमेंट के अंदर, सीनियर मैनेजमेंट के अंदर हायर हो सकते हैं. बट दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट इवन रजिस्ट्रेशन अथॉरिटीज दे डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड. अनफॉर्चुनेटली दे डू नॉट हैव एक्सपोजर. I would say that they do not have exposure related to the social and development work, and they will keep on adding these hindrances. एक और मजे की बात बताता हूँ आपको. पंजाब चैरिटी कमीशन से आप रजिस्टर करने के लिए जाते हैं, so they will ask you for documents such as that every board member should share the list of their assets with them. They would ask you to maybe also go and get a police a character certificate from the police. So you have the CNIC. This organization has now been already registered with the Trust Act or anything. वहाँ पे due diligence हो गई है. Ministry of Interior ने देख लिया कि अच्छा यार ये जो people हैं, the people who are in the board, they do not have any criminal cases. That sort of due diligence has been completed at that stage. Punjab Charity Commission is going to ask you for it again. Go get the police certificates. Go get a good character certificate. Now when you go to the next step, अच्छा इसके अलावा they are going to ask you 50-60 more documents. They are going to ask you a list of your fixed assets. I'm telling you, when you go to the Punjab Charity Commission, they're going to ask you for your list of fixed assets. They want to know each and everything about your organization. They even if it's it's a new organization that is applying, mostly. But of course, previous organizations also had to register with the Charity Commission. Having said that, they would want to know everything about you. अच्छा आपने सारी डिटेल्स दे दी. अच्छा कभी कभार आपसे आपकी ट्रैवल हिस्ट्री भी पूछ ली जाएगी. कुछ आपको अननोन नंबर से कॉल्स आ जाएंगी and they will be asking where have you traveled. And now I'm coming to the third part. When now you are going to register with the Economics Affairs Division, or if you're going to register yourself as an ING with the Ministry of Interior, around, if I'm not wrong, 8 to 10 organizations, which includes ministries and some intelligence agencies, law enforcement agencies as well, they will do a due diligence of yours. I remember filling out forms for my clients where I was asked what are their social media handles, and I was asked how many times they have traveled. I was also asked, if I'm not wrong, once, that you should share your personal bank account details. I myself remember being asked once, when did I get married, and how many kids I have, and I was asked what what does my brother do. I don't have a brother. What does my sister do, or my in-laws do? And they wanted to know their jobs and everything, and just that, so that you could register a charity or can receive the permission for that. These are very deep personal details that are asked from the NGO sector. And अच्छा, बल्कि हम ये कहते हैं कि आपने सारी डिटेल्स लेनी है तो आप एक दफ़ा ले लें. You want to take these details, take it at the time of registration. But at every stage, you are given around, you have to cross these hurdles. Every time there will be new 10 hurdles to be created. And I fail to understand कि इस सारे प्रोसेस का क्या फ़ायदा होता है कि आप हर रजिस्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस के ऊपर 20-30 डॉक्यूमेंट्स मांग रहे हैं. बेशक वो आप अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को रजिस्टर करवा रहे हो, whether you are registering with the provincial, authority, whether you are taking permission from the district authorities, whether you are applying with Pakistan Center for Philanthropy, whether you are going for a tax exemption certificate with FBR, whether you are doing a MOU with the Economic Affairs Division, every time they're going to ask you for 30 or 40 odd, 50 odd documents that need to be submitted, right? लिस्ट में 10-12 होते हैं कि जी हमें तो ये 10-12 डॉक्यूमेंट्स चाहिए, ठीक है, उसके बाद वो आपसे बार बार मंगवाते रहते हैं बाद में, ठीक है, जो लिस्ट में नहीं होते, जिसके अंदर CEO प्रोफाइल हम हमेशा सोचते थे कि दैट यू जस्ट नीड टू शेयर अ CV or something like that, but what happens is that you need to really share all the family history and the background of that particular person that you have to share with the authorities, and I think it's all in the name of security, and there is no harm in that. करना चाहिए सिक्योरिटी बेसिस के लिए, आप ज़रूर करें, बट आप उसको कुछ ना कुछ स्ट्रीमलाइन तो करें. यू रियली नीड टू स्ट्रीमलाइन इट. दिस इज बॉर्डर लाइन harassment, I would say. The only, I mean, I'm being a little bit soft on that and not calling it harassment, is because a lot of people who are communicating with us, they are, they empathize with us, they understand कि यार इतनी सारी हम इंफॉर्मेशन मांग रहे हैं, कोई एक दिन में तो दे नहीं देंगे. दे ऑल्सो फील, समटाइम्स आई फील दे फील एम्बैरेस्ड asking us, such personal details. So maybe, the next time you're donating to a charity, do think about these things, that, this is something आप सब सोचोगे रजिस्ट्रेशन के प्रोसेस में गुजरते हैं, ये पे early compliance भी होती है. जब MOUs आपके एक्सपायर होते हैं ED के साथ, तो फिर आपको इस ड्रिल से गुजरना पड़ता है. So basically this is something that we live with. So maybe, next time you donate funds and you think that, इनके लिए कितना आसान काम होता है, maybe, they just have to order some vendor to construct a well, or, maybe, if they're running a hospital or school, they just have to manage the payroll, and, of course, people are hired, but, sometimes it's taken very casually, maybe it's not so difficult, but these are the difficulties that are associated with, working in the charity sector. So I would recommend, or, who am I to recommend, but at least I would request the government now, and of course, up to khair, there's no time left. There is, there are going to be elections soon, hopefully. So that's a topic for another day. But it's very important that the government starts facilitating this sector. And there are unnecessary check and balances, there's unnecessary red tapism that needs to be cut down, so that, this important money can come into Pakistan and it can help the people who are underprivileged. How much government is going to allocate towards social and welfare development? It can't. It's got a huge debt to pay. So people are ready to invest. People are ready to build universities. People are ready to build hospitals. People are ready to build schools. But then, due to these things, they get deterred. They do not want to work over there. They say, okay, we'll go and work in another country. We can actually send our money to Syria and Yemen. And of course, people need help over there. And there are international charities that, a lot of overseas Pakistanis are not just giving, contributing funds towards, projects in Pakistan only. They're contributing towards all everywhere where people, you are suffering. I have run multiple campaigns from here to, for earthquake victims in Turkey, or, when there was a war going on in Syria. So there were refugees who had, gone to Jordan. So we were raising funds for that. So we have done these international appeals a lot of time. And people donate towards a lot of other causes as well. But, when, I bring, when I'm speaking with donors and encouraging them to, to come to Pakistan, to these big organizations who are, based in US, Canada, and UK, mostly these are the places where I work with international charities, and they say it's better not to come. There's so much information that is asked. There is so much resistance. People feel that resistance hai, that there's a skepticism, actually, that's the better word. There's so much skepticism towards the charity sector कि यार ये लोग हैं तो ये 2 number होंगे. They have some ulterior motive. They want to achieve, they want to disturb the social fabric of the country. यार सबूत के साथ कर लेना. और मजे की बात ये, organizations, I don't mind taking names. I'll say it openly. Save the Children. Are they not? When Save the Children incident happened, Dr. Shakeel Afridi's issues, that issue took place, and I would not blame the organization completely for that, but something happened जहाँ पे NGO sectors जो है वो बदनाम हुआ basically, and that Save the Children is still working in Pakistan. There is no problem. But because of that incident of Dr. Shakeel Afridi and a little bit of issue with the Kerry Lugar bill and everything, बाकी सबको रगड़ दी है. So मुझे समझ नहीं आ रही कि डॉक्टर शकील अफरीदी वाला भी अगर इशू हुआ था तो उसकी सज़ा बाकी चैरिटी सेक्टर को मिलनी चाहिए थी, या उसकी सज़ा सिर्फ उस पर्टिकुलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को मिलनी चाहिए थी, जिसकी मैं समझता हूँ कि इंटायरली गलती भी नहीं थी. हाँ, उनकी एक it was mismanagement. They did not know that this was happening, or I don't know what is the reality behind it. Even if they knew about it, of course they deny that this was not in their understanding that this sort of thing has been happening. मगर जब इस किस्म की चीज़ हो रही है, ठीक है, so rather than making that organization the example, though I'm against that as well, rather than making them an example, we have made thousands of charities in Pakistan an example. That we are going to look at you with skepticism, we are going to look you through the security lens, we are not satisfied with you, you must be doing something, something really wrong for, to be in this sector. And yaqeen mane, a lot of people, I've worked with the Khuwat, I've worked with Wasila Foundation, I've worked with 40 to 45 organizations in different assignments. And I have never found anyone against, the social fabric of this country, or or maybe, doing something which is like, against the national interest or something. Nothing at all. And it really breaks your heart, to work in this sector actually, and to be, judged always with, skepticism. So I think so this skepticism reflects in the policies that are being made for the sector. The skepticism reflects, the law shows that the way the departments, the government departments are handling, the registration matters and regulatory matters. There's a lot of skepticism, and this is a sector that has got a huge potential. I think so. It can reform Pakistan. Of course, it brings important foreign exchange into Pakistan that helps it to fulfill its debt requirements to the world. But most importantly, that the money that is coming for the welfare and for the upliftment of people who are suffering from poverty. And this is Pakistan's best chance to bounce back. So I think the government, the ministers, the parliamentarians, everyone has to look at it and see what can be done to improve this, what can be done to facilitate this, and what can be done to fulfill the security requirements as well. I am not against the security requirements. We know also of cases where organizations were involved in activities which it shouldn't be involved in. This was not, as I've mentioned, the case of Dr. Shakeel Afridi as well. So of course there has to be deterrence for that. That deterrence has to be deployed. But iska matlab ye to nahi hai ki, if 10 organizations are doing that or 20 organizations are doing that, you're going to penalize everyone. You're going to see everyone through the security lens and through skepticism. I think so. It was a big mistake because this policy was introduced in 2014, and more stringent policies were introduced during the tenure of Chaudhry Nisar, if I'm not wrong, who was the Minister of Interior at that time. So these stringent policies are actually are causing a lot of, I think so, आप अपने heroes जो हैं, हम तो नहीं हैं, we are very young in this sector, you're also bringing shame to your heroes. So I think this is where government really needs to see this and come up with a comprehensive mechanism where at the time of registration you are able to register with these other parallel organizations, that you can submit these documents, and also help them understand that that a one window operation is going to be much better. If you want 12 documents, don't take 12 documents, take 30 documents from us. Fulfill your security requirements, fulfill any sort of due diligence that you want to do, but do it through a one window operation. You are making people go to several departments, and I think that red tapism is deployed purposely with the purpose that कि कम से कम लोग काम करें, that not a lot of people can work in this, so in this sector, and help people, so help the underprivileged, or the people who are struggling to make their two ends meet. So and I know organizations that are sponsoring surgeries, uh, life-saving surgeries. I remember being involved a couple of times in these in such projects, and even with cochlear implants, which are very expensive, and of course due to the increase in the dollar rate, it's gone really haywire. So I believe that like a implant, the device itself and the surgery would cost around 2.5 to 3 million now, and maybe even more than that now, above 3 million. Look, considering that the dollar is now around 275, 280 rupees. So these devices are imported. So you need the overseas Pakistani and the diaspora to come and contribute towards changing the socio and economic situation in Pakistan. But what we are doing is that we have caused so much obstacles, and कि लोग भाग भी जाते हैं. People do not want to work over here, and I know of organizations that wrapped up and they left Pakistan, that we cannot work in the country anymore because I think people do not feel respected. So I think that needs to change. Bring a one window registration and regulatory procedure. It's not so difficult, I think. So there's several models that can be replicated. One of the best is the Charity Commission of England and Wales. Basically, we like to, in Pakistan, like to quote a lot about, UK politics and, the governance models over there. So why not adopt a good, a good model? And I remember at the time of, I think so it was 2011 or 12, it was the People's Party's government, and they had come up with this act. And this credit goes to Pakistan People's Party, no matter how much people criticize them, but they actually put in genuine effort towards legislation, and they had come up with a Foreign Contributions Act or something like that. And I remember reading a draft somewhere, and it was very well researched and well written, and it understood what needs to be done in order to ensure the compliance part, and it also made it convenient for organizations and charities to get registered and work. So it was a law. Of course, it needed few tweaks. If I'm remembering, few clauses were above my head. I couldn't get the logic behind it, but most of it was good. So something like that can be done, and it can be done at a federal level. And I understand that there's some क्या कहते हैं वो these things have devolved into to provinces and everything, some of the subjects. However, if SECP can be a regulatory body for all the not-for-profit private limited companies in Pakistan, so why can't we have such an authority for charities all over Pakistan? So I think organizations should also press this for, should speak with political parties, would speak with leaders in their constituencies, and make them understand that कि ये जो challenges हैं सोशल काम करने में, वेलफेयर के काम करने में, डेवलपमेंट के काम करने में, इन ऑब्स्टिकल्स को जो है इसको कट डाउन करें, बिकॉज दीज आर द रियल इश्यूज. एंड वंस दीज इश्यूज आर रिजॉल्व्ड, यू कैन डेफिनेटली सी पाकिस्तान प्रोग्रेसिंग, एंड वी कैन, जो पाकिस्तान पिछले 1.5-2 साल से जिन मसलों में से गुजरा है ड्यू टू लैक ऑफ फॉरेन फंड्स एंड फॉरेन एक्सचेंज, आई थिंक दिस वाज अ डिजास्टर for which we created the recipe and we cooked that disaster ourselves. So I want to close on that let's not cook another disaster for ourselves. We still have got 3 challenging years in front of us, and we've got a lot of debt to repay, and at the same time there's a lot of charity work that needs to take place in Pakistan, so that people, the underprivileged, can actually come out of their poverty, and we can